The following are properties, original work, creations, and ideas of Kelebogile Sehoa. The ElementRings brand includes, but is not limited to, the ElementRings Pty Ltd company, the ElementRings script, comic book or manga script, characters, movie script, ElementRings merchandise, and Negu brand. All rights claimed and reserved by Kelebogile Sehoa. Hello, and welcome back to ElementRings. Here's a quick recap before we continue with the story. It was finally Monday morning, and Mr. Singanga and his 3 assistants were ready to begin examining the big rock that was collected from Manlane Mall. As they were about to begin their work, Bonolo noticed a different hole from the one she drilled back at the mall. Find out more as we continue with the story. The girls were surprised to hear Mr. Singanga admit that he was wrong. He rarely mentions it when someone is right over him. Layla then says, "But how? None of us saw a second hole." Mr. Singanga says, "Well, Layla, I did, and then it just sealed up. If I didn't know better, I'd say the rock healed itself." The girls are shocked by this. Tlotlo then says, "I say we drill it again and see if it heals a second time." It was clear that she doubted what Mr. Singanga said. She wanted to see the rock heal with her own 2 eyes. Mr. Singanga then said, "I love how you think, my girl. Besides, you all probably think I'm crazy since rocks can't heal themselves." The girls felt embarrassed and looked away. Mr. Singanga then thinks, "I've stumbled upon an interesting discovery. If I push the girls, I know we are going to uncover something beyond our wildest dreams." Tlotlo examined the goo under a microscope. Layla was busy with the chunks of rocks. She had vases, cylinders, liquids, and Bunsen burners around her. Mr. Singanga says, "Tlotlo and Layla have started with their work. You fetch the drill and let's have this rock have it." Bonolo was excited to drill for a second time. She looked at Mr. Singanga and says, "You read my mind." Layla then says, "And you all better remind me to weigh this thing. I didn't get a chance back at the mall." They all held back their laugh until they couldn't anymore. Bonolo walks into a section of the lab where they store the drill, and seconds later she walks out with the drill, laughing and saying, "Here it is, Mr. Singanga." Mr. Singanga then says, "Don't worry, Layla, I always keep my promises." He then looks at Bonolo and says, "Good girl, now plug it in and let's get to work." Bonolo plugs in the machine. As she was setting up the drill session, Tlotlo loudly says, "No way!" She grabbed everyone's attention when she said that. Mr. Singanga asks, "What is it, girl?" Tlotlo gets up from her chair and says, "I think it would be best if I showed you because you wouldn't believe me if I told you." Tlotlo walks over to Mr. Singanga and Bonolo. "You are going to want to see this too, Layla." Layla walks over to where they were. Tlotlo had a PC tablet in her hands. She gives it to Mr. Singanga and he takes a look at it with Bonolo and Layla tiptoeing to see as well. "How is this possible?" Mr. Singanga thought out loud. Bonolo answers, "It's not possible. It just isn't, is it?" The information on the screen baffled her and everyone else. Layla then says, "This would mean that there are..." Just as Layla was about to finish her sentence, Mr. Singanga cuts her off and says it himself. "This screen is showing us that there's an undeterminable percentage of human DNA from this rock, which means there are people elsewhere in the universe." The information blows their minds. For a second, they couldn't think clearly or register what they had just seen. Mr. Singanga then says, This rock sure is full of mysteries. Manlin Mole told us that it came from space, yet it registers human DNA? How bizarre. Layla walks away to confirm something on the tablet she used. Layla was also surprised at what she saw. She then says, "Guys, get over here. You are going to want to see this too." They all went over to Layla with Mr. Singanga asking, "What is it?" He also thinks, "I love this." Layla says, "I wanted to see what material this rock was, so I referenced it with every known element on the periodic table, and it's a complete hit." Bonolo curiously asks, "A complete hit? So which element is it closely related to?" Layla vigorously answers, "You won't believe this, but all of them." The crew was once again shocked. Mr. Singanga then asks, "Hold on, wait a minute. Are you telling us that this rock is a combination of all 118 elements of the periodic table?" Layla throws her arms up and says, "Yes, I ran the test 5 times already, and the results were the same every single time. I couldn't believe it myself." Mr. Singanga starts jumping up and down and screams, "Eureka! All this information makes me want to drill the rock even more and see what's really going on with this thing. Bonolo, please proceed with the drilling." Bonolo smiles as she walks over to the rock. She wears her goggles and drills away at the rock. Mr. Singanga shouts, "Don't hold back, my girl. Give it all you've got." Bonolo says, "You asked for it. Super drill mode on." Tlotlo was watching from where she was standing. She was heavily analyzing the information they had shared amongst themselves. "I understand that the results I found stated there's human DNA from that rock. That seems far-fetched regarding all the information mankind has amassed over the years. But still, it could be worth considering. But then again, having all the elements make up a single material, that's 100% completely, unequivocally impossible." As Bonolo was drilling and Mr. Singanga and Layla were cheering her on, Meru, who was inside, asked himself, "What's going on? Have I made it to Earth already? And why am I still in this form? And what is going on outside with that noise?" Mr. Singanga and Layla scream, "Go for it, Bonolo!" Meru, who wasn't in his full state of mind, starts getting irritated heavily and thinks, "It seems there are people just outside this confide of mine. It also seems they're messing with my cocoon." Bonolo opened her mouth in excitement and anticipation as the drill pierces the rock bit by bit, as Mr. Singanga and Kayla continue cheering her on. And that's the end of the 44th release. As you all heard, the rock seems to have human DNA, and it is made up of all 118 elements of the periodic table, which is impossible according to Tlotlo. Keep following the story to find out how the team deals with this rock. Thanks for the support, and bye for now.